A story of a bored slime who has nothing fun to do anymore after the war ended. Then it decided to explore the wonders of cosmos and found a world where few individuals caught its attention. Tensura x Konosuba by Tempest_Moon Chapter 4 Troublesome Times Rimuru Pav. We arrived at the Axel Guild around nighttime. The place was bustling with adventurers who were eating and drinking. After that little skirmish we had, we were able to get a fair amount of money from the guild to buy ourselves some nice and lovely dinner. Aqua, who looked very annoyed, especially when looking at me, began chugging some alcohol like there's no tomorrow. I'm in no place to tell her what to do, and I don't want to hear her complaints if I did say something. I just focused on my own meal while observing the others around me. Kazuma and Megumin are having some lovey-dovey moments, which is sweet, but I can see that Darkness has a bitter expression despite her ridiculous habits. Despite the eccentric nature of this party, I can't help but enjoy myself in their company. I muttered to myself as I appreciated having these kinds of people around. It has been so long since I was able to act normally around anyone after being anointed as the protector of the world. Nobody in Tempest, aside from those who are closest to me, would dare to casually address me in public. I understood the reason. That's why this feels refreshing for me. Noticing my deep soliloquy, Kazuma began a conversation. Well, you were great back then, Rimuru-san. His smile was genuine, and I can feel his respect for what I've done. Kazuma, despite his odd circumstances, cares for his companions, and I can also respect him for that. Before I could respond, Kazuma added more remarks. Rimuru-san, after eating here, I am going to the public bathhouse to relax. Would you mind joining me? I mean, we're both guys, aren't we? He is still genuine, sure. But this time, he is genuinely acting like a scumbag. I think I'll pass, Kazuma-san. You can enjoy your bath, though. On your own, I responded while feeling bad for rejecting him twice. I have reasons, and I'm not telling him any of those. Kazuma Pav, I knew it. Rimuru is a girl and she's pretending to be a guy just to cast other boys away. Feeling a bit sure about my findings, I stopped doubting Rimuru-san's gender. I can understand having stalkers if I ever had that kind of beauty. It's also maybe the reason why she's always using the mask. She can insist on being a guy, but I know the real truth, and as a man, I should respect her privacy. On my side, Aqua, who drank too much alcohol just like always, addressed Rimuru with her sluggish voice. Rimuru-san, don't get cocky-juiced because you defeated that wimp dragon. She was pointing at Rimuru with a bottle at hand. I guess Aqua felt a bit threatened by Rimuru's ability. I believe it's a holy attack based on the light attribute it emitted. For a goddess like Aqua, it must have hurt her pride as a goddess. Well, if she'd only taken her role seriously, I think she'd be a far more well-known person by now. But with Rimuru's performance earlier, many adventurers mistook her for the goddess Aqua herself. It might have been the reason why Aqua is very pissed right now. Well, despite it all, I'm not part of this. And if a consensus of who is the rightful one to be hailed as a goddess arises, I would happily side with Rimuru-san. Because for me, she's already a goddess at heart. Smack! I felt like my head was sent flying into the sky. A searing pain on the back of my head is driving me crazy. It made me want to strangle the person that hit me unguarded. I looked around with a little teary-eyed expression and saw Megumin looking at me, mad. What was that for? I asked the culprit for her reasons. You were thinking of something indecent, aren't you? Like wanting to see Rimuru-san's naked body? She said while pointing a finger at me. I hate being accused like this, especially when it's the truth. But I can't tell her that, though. I don't want to further fan the flames of hatred at me. To counter her accusation, I began the act of guilt-tripping. Why are you always doubting my loyalty towards you? Why won't you trust me when I say that you're the only one I'd love? Despite trying my hardest to show my affection, you'd always doubt my intentions, I said, trying to pour every ounce of emotion I could muster. The look of everyone in the room turned sour. Even Rimuru began to avoid my gaze. Aqua went sober and smashed a wooden cup full of liquor. I have a feeling why everyone began acting this way, and I realized that I shouldn't have said that in the beginning. It started with Aqua. She stood up and began shouting, effectively gathering everyone's attention at us. You stupid NEET, you're talking about loyalty and trust? You've been hanging around that succubus club every chance you get. You don't get to act like an innocent little man that has a toxic, possessive partner, when in the first place, you're the one that's making your relationship difficult. Her words cut deep into my heart. I couldn't refute it, either. It's true that I've been hanging around succubus clubs, but that was before me and Megumin took our relationship seriously. I don't know if it's the booze, but Aqua is being seriously irritating right now. Her face of absolute victory over embarrassing me in front of the whole guild is making me want to strangle her right now. But if I did that, I'd just show how little of a man I am. Darkness, who seemed to calm herself, also added some words. Though it's harsh, Aqua's words hold value. Kazuma, if you truly are sincere with your relationship, you must refrain from looking at Rimuru-san with such lust. You might not see it, but it's very apparent to those that know you. It's unsettling how true her words are. The more unbelievable part is that it's coming from a crazy masochist that gets turned on by any kind of abuse. I couldn't make a noise even for a little. I looked at Megumin, who was just sitting on the chair while looking down right next to me. Am I really a scumbag? I couldn't help but agree with that question. The act of guilt-tripping was flipped, and now I'm the one that is feeling guilty from all the commotion that we caused. Well, as a noble person, I know what the right thing is that I must do. I went and held Megumin's hands while I tried to catch her gaze. After locking eyes with her, I mustered up the courage and told her my true feelings. Megumin, I love you, that's the truth. There's no way in the world that could change that. But please hear me out. I just wanted to see what Rimuru-san has down there. That's why I asked Rimuru to join me in the bath together, I said with sincerity. For the love of the heavens, my explanation was still not enough for her. She instantly gripped my hands hard enough for me to squeal. Then she questioned with a raging voice. You wanted to see what Rimuru-san has down there? So you really want to see Rimuru-san's naked body, don't you? Before I could respond, Megumin sprinted right out of the door. Many of the onlookers looked at me with disgust. Rimuru already hid her face with the mask. And I feel terrible about myself. Megumin Pav, I just ran. I couldn't help but run away from the person that is tormenting my heart. Maybe it's just my big misunderstanding, but the way he kept looking at Rimuru, the way he feels nervous around her, and the way he shows his gentle side towards her makes me upset. Why wouldn't he show that side to me, too? I'm not asking for much. But I thought that after changing our relationship, our closeness would also deepen. But it turns out, Kazuma still treats me just like everyone else in the party. Is being treated as someone more special asking for too much? Maybe it is. It just hurts to see that when someone totally beautiful and capable arrives at our doorstep, Kazuma is already treating them better than the way he treated us when we first met. Does he like her? I couldn't deny it. Maybe he does. Maybe his feelings for me were that temporary. Maybe all those times we spent were purely just platonic. There's no deeper meaning to it other than being friends. But if that's the case, am I a fool for believing in him? Tears flowed like a river. I didn't bother hiding the pain. I walked aimlessly into the wild, without a care in the world, just like how he treated me. Rimuru Pav Seal, look what you did. Because you refused me to have one particular gender, everyone is having a crisis of misunderstandings. Less than I muttered to myself while feeling bad for the young couple. Kazuma dashed outside, trying to catch up to his partner, who seems devastated by this whole ordeal. Less than master. Although it's sad, I'm not changing my mind. Greater than Seal can be seriously stubborn, especially when it comes to this topic. Oh well, I guess I just have to help mediate between the two. As I was thinking such a thought, a group of soldiers swarmed the guild. They were wearing armor with an ornate pattern on the back. They stood before us and questioned everyone with a demanding tone. I heard that the great goddess Aqua has descended the heavens and helped the adventurers defeat a dragon? His words are sharp and direct. Everyone that heard it began looking at me specifically. Their stares are uncomfortable, yet I didn't make a move. The one that answered their question was Aqua herself. Yes, it is I. The great goddess Aqua. I am the one that slew that dragon. Her statement is ridiculous, yet I didn't bother correcting her. If she wants to take the credit that bad, I guess it won't matter. This would also help me conceal my identity. Thanks to her, I managed to slip by the chaotic atmosphere brewing inside the guild. I left Darkness and Aqua behind and followed the other two from their little love quarrel. I feel bad that Megumin thinks I am stealing Kazuma, but I can't put into words that I have seriously nothing down there. There's no doubt that they would suspect my existence. What's worse is if that goddess finds out I'm not normal, it would cause trouble. I can handle myself pretty well, but I'd rather not end my vacation just yet. As I made up my mind to conceal my true identity despite their confusion, I stumbled upon Kazuma, who nonchalantly walked around town. I called out to him as I was approaching. "Hey, did you find her? She seems a bit upset earlier." After noticing me, Kazuma stopped in his tracks and faced me. He sighed as he replied, "Well, I think she's going to be fine. She'll come running right back after she calms herself. I'm sorry for making you worry." He looks tired as he gave me a smile. That's a bad sign. Well, I think he genuinely feels worried, but I guess he knows how to handle his girlfriend when it comes to these types of situations, so I didn't pry any further. I informed him, though, about the situation in the guild. Kazuma furrowed his brows. Sheesh. Problems after problems. Well, Rimuru-san, do you want to run away together, just the two of us? We could start over in a new town. I am appalled by his words. This guy is truly a scumbag. To think that he'd abandon his friends and not make amends. My impression of him is failing. Are you being serious right now? I asked with a tone of frankness. He looked at me and laughed. I don't know if I should feel insulted or confused. But I refrained from doing anything reckless. His attitude and actions are not a befitting image of someone that was able to defeat a demon king or its generals. Then he replied while having a distant look in his eyes. To be honest, everything that people say about me is true. But that doesn't matter. Our achievements are enough proof that our time as an adventurer is real. It's true that I have my own shortcomings when it comes to my leadership or how I handle my friends. But we were pretty cool when we defeated and protected those that needed saving. His words are inspiring, but I think he may be off topic. But I refrained from telling him that. Then he continued, I really do love Megumin and I'd do anything to make her happy. It's just that right now, I just want to clear up my confusion and see what you really have down there. So if you wouldn't mind, please take off your pants, Rimuru-san, so we could end this farce, and finally move on. Tears are starting to fall from his eyes. Less than master. I want to skin this perverted man and spread his remains to the entirety of the cosmos. Greater than don't do that. You'd infect the cosmos with his perverted virus. Less than I shouted internally, trying to stop Seal from causing world destruction because of this perverted idiot. I want to beat him up. Why does he keep insisting I strip for him? Is that his kink? They are really some weird bunch. I remained calm as I replied to Kazuma. That's unnecessary, isn't it? Whatever is down there, you wouldn't even be able to see anything. Kazuma slumped his shoulders and began walking towards the mansion. I didn't follow him and just walked the opposite way. I don't want to be involved with him, especially when he's acting weirdly like that. Darkness Pav, what do I do? The guards are already surrounding the area. Meanwhile, Aqua seems to be very happy about the situation. To think that she'd see this intense situation with happiness makes me excited for some reason. The guard ignored Aqua, and it made me blush. Please ignore me, too, Mr. Officer. Kya, I muttered under my breath. Aqua, who started to look irritated, started screaming. Why are you ignoring me? Are you looking to get punished by the goddess herself? Sadly for her, the guards still ignored her voice. Gosh, I wish it was me. One of the guild staff approached the guards. Her nervousness is concealed by her calm demeanor. She stood in front of the guard and calmly said, If you could refrain from causing a scene in this fine establishment, it would be our pleasure. Now, what can I do for you fine gentlemen? Her voice didn't break. She stood her ground despite the pressure. Seeing her action, the guards bowed slightly. I apologize for the inconvenience. But we were strictly ordered to bring back the goddess Aqua to the palace along with her companions. He was being respectful. Thankfully, the knights of this kingdom still remained respectful. This calmed the tense atmosphere, and the adventurers that are witnessing it all unfold began voicing what they know. The one that defeated the dragon with a flashy technique was one of their new party members. I believe her name was Rimuru, said one of the adventurers. Everyone agrees with it as they also saw Rimuru cast that bright spell that defeated the dragon. I was unconscious at the time, but it was the general comment I've been hearing after waking up. Aqua, though, was not able to accept it. Why wouldn't you listen to me? I'm the goddess Aqua, the one you're looking for, she said with a disheartening voice. The guards exchanged looks with each other as they tried to examine Aqua. Finally, one of their leaders took the stage and spoke with Aqua. His stern look is befitting for the title of general. He addressed Aqua with a respectful bow, and it made Aqua smile. I apologize for ignoring the party that was able to defeat the Demon King. Lady Lalatina, it's an honor seeing you. Now, if you wouldn't mind, I'd like to escort both of you to the royal palace for the king to reward you for such action." He finished with a bow. The room is buzzing with murmurs. And I felt a great sense of dread after hearing his words. Am I going to the royal palace again to meet the king and those nobles? The thought sent shivers down my spine. Meanwhile, Aqua seems to be very excited with the situation. I'm just hoping that the others make it in time until our designated time for escort begins. Kazuma Pav. This world hates me. I've reached that conclusion after thinking about it. In the first place, my death was so ridiculous that even the goddess made fun of it. Second, I've lived my new life buried in debt. And now, I've managed to enter a relationship only for it to be abusive. Whether I'm really cheating or not, I'd still go home with Megumin at the end of the day. What if I want to go to a succubus club every now and then? It's a paid transaction, so it would not fall under cheating. So why is she so upset over it? Also, despite Rimuru-san arriving in our lives, I would not replace Megumin as my lover. I say that while fully knowing that I stood no chance of dating Rimuru. Well, it's better to have someone here on the ground, rather than chasing those that are above the clouds. After I managed my thoughts, I arrived outside of our mansion. It's a gloomy place, but right now, it became more of a sad place. Before I got to turn my key, I heard a familiar voice back at the gate. Kazuma, oh Kazuma, the business ventures that we both worked hard for are now showing their fruits. Veneer, a familiar friend, spoke in an excited manner. I turned towards him, who seemed enthusiastic about our endeavors. He looked at my pitiful sight for a moment, and his smile turned sour. The happy Veneer turned into a truly terrifying demon as he spoke. Kazuma, as a demon that sees the future, why can't I see yours just like before? I am confused by this sudden revelation. I also have no idea why he could not see it. To save my life, I frantically waved my hands. Hold up. I don't know what you're talking about. I didn't do anything. He seems to believe my words as he stopped further questioning me. But his next words gave an ominous foreshadowing. Kazuma, your fate has been altered by some strong individuals that could even deter my foresight. This could either be good or bad. So I'd like to make myself clear. Be wary of those you encounter, as they could cause your demise. This crazy demon came here just to step on my sad, sorry state. Is he trying to piss me off? I'm already a wreck, and here he is telling me my life would only get worse. I'll keep that in mind, I replied, ending our conversation. I invited him inside and spoke about how much we earned this time around. I'm glad that even in this ridiculous, unlucky life, I managed to gain some bag. Chapter 5. Oh young love Rimuru Pav greater than seal. Where did Megumin go? Less than I'm standing in the middle of nowhere and only the rustling of woods and other wild creatures is what I hear. It's almost early in the morning when I began my search for Megumin. I'm one of the reasons why she's upset, so the least I could do is find her so I could explain myself. Less than master. She's deeper in the forest, hiding in the giant tree trunk. Greater than after hearing her confirmation, I began my search. It didn't take long. I made my way towards the wolves and other monsters that started to come out. Compared to the monsters in the cardinal world, these folks are a bunch of weaklings. Well, it's not fair to compare the two when the standards are so far apart. I found a giant tree standing tall around a bunch of other trees. In the middle section of it was a gaping hole, with a lit fire burning inside. I slowly approached it and made myself known in order to not alarm Megumin. Hello, you there? Kazuma and the others are very worried about you, I said calmly. There was no response. I reached the tree and peeked inside the hole. There was Megumin, curled up like a ball while holding her staff. There were traces of tears on her face and she was shivering from cold. I can't help but feel bad for her. I took some soft animal fur from my imaginary space and placed it on Megumin like a blanket. I stayed beside the tree until morning. I didn't want to wake her up, especially when she's so sound asleep like that. For me, sleep became a habit, not a requirement. So I stood guard and protected her from any monster attack, discreetly. When she woke up, she crawled down from the inside and began stretching. It seems like she didn't notice me just yet, so I maintained my position. Well, where should I head from now? They won't be needing me anyways. Especially when Kazuma found a new, more capable party member, Megumin grumbled under her breath. She seems broken after the events last night. And it is partially my fault for intruding in their party. I stopped hiding and addressed Megumin directly. That's not true. Kazuma seems to value you more than anyone there, you know. My sudden appearance made her jump out of fright. She looked at me with a confused expression, then it became a face filled with hate. Are you in love with Kazuma? Why are you trying to destroy our relationship? What did we even do to deserve this? She began ranting. Her emotions are running wild. I just stood there silently, letting her spill the emotions that she kept bottling up. When I found a moment, I replied, I just want to have some company to be with. That's all. I don't intend on stealing your lover from you. But my reason was not enough. She shouted, we were already perfect before you arrived. Despite his shortcomings, I was able to come to terms with it. But this time, I felt devastated seeing you do better things than I could have ever done and you were being appreciated more by him. Her tears were starting to pour down again. But she wasn't finished. He's the first one that told me how amazing my explosion magic was. He's the first one who gave me a home to belong to. And despite of it all, he's the first one that told me how much he loves me. But right now, he's also the one that chose to give me up and only to choose you over me. Are you happy now? It was hard. It was a pure outrage coming from someone with a broken heart. I didn't mean to hurt their relationship, but I have no choice but to conceal my true identity. If only I could drop my pants and show them that there isn't anything down there, then maybe this whole ordeal would end. But I know that it would only fuel the fires and it would abruptly end my vacation. So I pivoted and thought of another way to mend things. I started with trying to calm her down. Megumin, I'm sorry if my actions looked like trying to steal Kazuma away. But in truth, I hold no feelings for him, so you should not worry. First of all, I'm a slime and I'm androgynous, that's the main issue. So even if I did show off my body, they won't see a thing other than a blank canvas. Sure, you could argue that I was once a human, but that was so long ago I don't even think of that anymore. Hearing my reasons, Megumin still doubted me. There's no surprise about that. Kazuma has been pretty adamant about seeing me naked, so she suspects that even if I deny it, there will be still some trouble lingering. The only option available is to leave the party and observe from a distance. Hopefully, this would solve the relationship problem and they would continue their normal daily lives. But before I could suggest leaving, Megumin looked at me straight in the face and dropped a ridiculous order. Strip naked and prove to me that you're a guy. You've been using that as an excuse since we met, but do you really think people would believe you? She's now blushing red. I am astonished by her bold request. I didn't know what to do. Should I just start taking off my clothes just like she told me to? No, that would only piss off Seal, who has been quiet all this time. So I reiterated, Megumin, it doesn't matter if I'm a boy or a girl. I don't have any feelings for Kazuma. I'm sorry for making you think that way, but I'm being honest right now. I have my reasons for rejecting his offer and yours, so please understand that it's not easy to explain. My words seemed to reach her. She felt embarrassed as her face continued to turn red. So you're saying, you don't intend to steal away Kazuma from me? She asked in a calmer sense. Yes, I won't. He's all yours. For better and worse, I said with open arms. I am hoping that these whole shenanigans would get resolved sooner. This whole misunderstanding is such a mess. Megumin finally understood that I'm being sincere. She stopped crying and came close to me. She looked down, slightly avoiding eye contact. I held my hand towards her, which took her by surprise. I smiled. You don't have to worry. I can see that your love for him is genuine. It would be rude for me to go and destroy such an affectionate relationship, I said while trying to come up with convincing words. I'm conflicted. You really are pretty, Rimuru-san. If you stay close to him, he would definitely fall in love with you, she said. And I will reject him every time, I reassured Megumin. I didn't come to this world just to play with others' love affairs. It just happened that the supposedly strongest adventurers in this world, who even managed to slay the Demon King, are a bunch of idiots, perverts, and lovesick. After some time of convincing, we managed to reach back at the mansion. I comforted Megumin throughout the way, which thankfully worked. When we reached the door, we could already hear Aqua and Darkness arguing inside. Kazuma Pavo, the smell of gold wafted around my nose. I'm rich beyond imagination. I don't care about the troubles of my daily life no more. The king summoned us? I don't care. I'm rich beyond compare. I don't find the trouble of visiting such a place exciting. Oh, look at that Darkness. It seems like Kazutrash is feeling good about himself, Aqua spoke with venom. A homo sapien of a goddess is trying to piss me off? Fumu, good try. I don't give a damn about the names they give me. I'm rich beyond compare. After talking with Vanir last night, the goddess of fortune seems to be on my side. If only I could trade goddesses, I'd do it in a heartbeat. Sadly, I'm stuck with an outdated and broken version of a goddess with me. Are you insulting me under your breath? Say it loudly, you coward, so that I could beat you up, Aqua said while balling a fist. She really is a brute, I muttered to myself. The door spreads wide open as Rimuru along with Megumin entered the mansion. It's no surprise that Megumin came home just like what I expected. Though, I could see that her outfit was worn out. You dumbass. Why didn't you go home last night? I questioned. A bit worried about where she's been. I knew she was mad, but to think she'd go this far to even have her clothes get messed up, there must have been some problems she encountered. She looked at me for a moment then turned away. She really is upset about last night. Well, I'm glad that you're back. There's some leftover food at the table, so help yourself, I say with concern as I return to my royal couch. Rimuru just watched our interaction. I failed to greet her, but I think it's fine. She has been looking for Megumin all night, so I might treat her to some meal later. Anyways, I struck a deal with Vanir a few months back, and last night we were able to discuss our latest endeavors. I showed him a project I was working on in my free time a while back and he took interest in it. It's a simple sketch of a wristwatch. I told him the convenience of it and how the market would react if it reaches the stores. This simple innovation could start a massive change in the fashion section and how it would attract nobles of different kinds. The split was clear. We both own 50-50 of the profits. I own the intellectual rights, and he will manage the production of items. It was all written under the blood oath of a contract. Meaning both sides should uphold their words, or else a painful price will be paid. We are looking at a minimum of 75,000 aris to 250,000 aris per wristwatch, depending on the materials that were used or the rarity of it. The estimate value per item is fair, and it targets the nobility who view fashion as a sign of power. The prices should skyrocket sooner after it reaches a popular phase. Last night, Vanir told me that we already sold about 10,000 wristwatches in under a month after its launch. It was also the latest version, which was coated with gold and silver. The gold one with some valuable gems on it costs for about 500,000 aris, while the silver one costs for about 300,000 aris. Out of 10,000 items, 60% of it was silver and 40% of it is made of gold. After tallying the production cost, the total profit we made was 4.2 billion aris in this month alone. And I own half of that money. Meaning I'm an extremely wealthy person with such an enormous business that runs on its own. I'm thinking of retiring as an adventurer and living my remaining days at my humble abode. Me and Megumin could travel the world and enjoy our lives together until we grow old. Well, I'm thinking of bringing along the rest of the party if they want to. Looking at me, Rimuru can't help but voice a concern. Did something happen? He looks like he's living in a different world than ours, she said, asking Darkness and Aqua. Darkness quickly answered her question. Well, since this morning, Kazuma has been saying that he made some enormous amount of money, that's why he's not going to answer the king's summon. Aqua also quickly added, and he's saying that the money only belongs to him. How selfish, Kazuma. We are a team, aren't we? So the money should also be split equally to us as well, she shouted. This shameless person. I designed those products myself. Vanir manufactured it, so it's understandable that we both have a share of the profit. But these people that are calling me trash and whatnot want to have a piece of that cake? Over my dead body, Rimuru shifted her focus towards me. Well, on the other note, I think it would be best if you and Megumin talk in private. She has been feeling down since last night, so please, make up. Rimuru is a sweet person. To think she'd care about Megumin that much despite being hated by her. I really appreciate Rimuru as a person. If she truly is a guy, I would hug her tightly like what bros do to each other. I also don't want to make this awkwardness between me and Megumin linger any further, so as a capable person who's mature enough to see the fault of oneself, I approached Megumin, who was quietly eating by herself. I hugged her from behind. A rare act of intimacy between couples. This took everyone by surprise, even Megumin. Then I watched my words carefully as I held her body in my arms. I'm sorry for last night. It was childish of me to act like that in front of you. Just like I told you before. You're the only one I love, nothing more. There was no hint of embarrassment in my face. Clearly seeing this, Megumin blushes and her eyes began to water. She clung into my arms and I felt her warm tears dripping out from her eyes. I lowered myself and completely hugged her from behind. The others looked away and gave us some space. It was kind of them despite the chaos we always create. I really thought you were going to replace me. I really thought you were going to abandon me. Please don't leave. Not now that I've totally fallen in love with you, Megumin said while letting her tears out. I listened, never spoke a word. I knew that carelessness in this situation would destroy our relationship. So I held my tongue. I just let her release all the things she's been keeping inside. She felt insecure when Rimuru joined our party. And I totally ignored her feelings and focused on my selfish whims. I have forgotten how special she has become to me. And I almost lost that precious thing if I didn't realize it sooner. Calming herself down, I sat beside her. The others are watching from afar. They can probably hear us, but it didn't bother me. It's better if they see how sincere I am about this. Aqua, who can't read the mood, rushed towards Megumin complaining. Megumin, did you hear? Kazuma got so much money last night and he's refusing on giving us our shares. We are a party, right? So give me my share of that money. She shifted her focus towards me on the last part. Megumin was surprised by this and I feel bad leaving her out of my business endeavors. Though, I think she understood that this time, the money was not a party effort, so she began persuading Aqua. Aqua-san, I don't think it would be fair if we split it equally when we did nothing to gain that share, she said with her sweet smile. Aqua is not satisfied with this answer and she grumbled as she walked away. Well, we could eat lavishly tonight if you guys want, I addressed the whole group. Rimuru was a bit hesitant about it, trying to refuse the offer. But Megumin was the one that insisted for me. We are okay now, so you don't have to worry, Rimuru-san. Although I will still keep an eye on you, I will accept you as our party member. I am happy that things are going smoother now. I am hoping that Megumin would stop doubting our relationship anymore. I understand that Rimuru is beyond my standards. So I decided to admire her from a distance while keeping my relationship with Megumin as close as possible. A thought then suddenly ran across my mind. It was a mischievous thought, but I think that it's appropriate, especially for a couple like us. So I paved my way, guiding the conversation while hiding my real intention. So Megumin, we could party tonight, but I'd like a secret conversation with you right after, I began slowly. She looked at me with her dazzling eyes. I feel bad for thinking such thoughts in front of a pure maiden like her. But come on, man. We've been dating for too long and there's no progress at all except for that one time. So I decided to be a bit cheeky.